Well, good evening, gang, and welcome to It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn Williams, and to my right and to your left, of course, is Julia Perciasepe. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
How was your holiday?
Good.
Yeah? You have a nice holiday?
Yeah, a nice mix of relaxing and stress.
Yeah.
Always just a little bit of stress.
Yeah.
We are coming to you live from our beautiful studios here at BNN-TV, and you're more than welcome to join us. We're at 617-708-3290. And Dave and the great staff of BNN are in the other room answering the phone. So if you want to get in contact with us and just kind of join in the conversation, let us know what's going on artfully in your life, please, or your community. Let us know what's going on. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Well, I'm glad, you know, the holiday season has officially started.
I know,
We are
overwhelming.
on the way. The super producer Janice and I abandoned all and took off. Left the state, headed up to the White Mountains on Thursday morning. It was great, but one funny story is we said, okay, we're going to get up there really early. We'll stop and have breakfast, and then we'll have lunch someplace, and we'll find someplace to have dinner. We get up there, and we were able to get into our room early. It was nice. We stayed at Thayer's Inn in Littleton, and I says to the guy, do you know any place we can go and have a bite to eat and stuff? He kind of looked at us and said, well, the Dunkin' Donuts across the street closes at 1 o'clock, but other than that, everything else is closed.
Oh, no.
What? So we actually found a Shaw's that was open till 3, got some provisions, and hunkered down, and had a great time. We had a beautiful time. The next day was their big, huge annual Christmas parade.
Oh, cool.
So we got to see all of that, and it was fun. Plus, it was so beautiful up there. The days were so clear and cold.
So they had their Christmas parade on Thanksgiving?
The next day, that Friday.
Okay. Huh.
So, you know, they get right in it. They don't want to waste any time. Right to it. So it was very, very exciting, and I hope that you and yours had a lovely.
We did.
Good, I'm glad.
Very relaxing.
Yeah, the relaxing part is the very important part, I feel, you know, because you got to be able to take some time. And we definitely want to dedicate this one to relaxing. Well, our schedules have been pretty hairy and pretty busy, but, you know, other than that, last night was the debut on BNN-TV channel 23 of the last transmission hour. I hope everybody tuned in and enjoyed that. I know it was a great job by the great Tim Casey editing that, and all the musicians did a great job. My ukes were in tune, so it was okay for me. I didn't think things went wrong, but it was nice, you know.
Were you playing your new?
No, I just gotten a new one this past weekend, this past couple of days. There's a place up in Ashland, New Hampshire that we stop at every time. We go to the quilt store in Meredith, and then we stop at a place called the Fret Shop, which I've gotten my guitars. I bought my Martin there, but it's an amazing place. You walk in and there's like all these guitars hanging all over the place. And they had 3 baritone ukuleles, and I don't have a baritone, so.
Now, do you kind of sit in the store and play around?
Oh, I was there for a long time.
You have to be dragged out?
Oh, I was there for a long time. Yeah, well, you know, there's certain things you can't buy online, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
One of them's shoes and the other one's musical instruments.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you gotta sit and you gotta play and you gotta, you know, think, you know. And I'm glad I did, because there was one that was beautiful, it looked nice. It would have been something I would have said, oh, that's pretty, I'll buy. Didn't sound as nice as the one I ended up getting, so I'm kind of happy about that.
What makes the difference in sound?
The wood, what it's made out of, and the craftsmanship that goes into it, you know. Believe it or not, sometimes the fretboards can be a little narrow or a little wider, depending on I got these mitts, you know, so I can't. Like, I have a soprano that I play, which is the little tiny ones, but that neck is wide too, so I had to make sure that I got an Oscar Schmidt, which the necks are just a little bit wider. So, but it sounds great. I've been sitting and playing it because it's different fingering it's a different tuning than a regular tenor or soprano or concert ukulele. They have a different tuning. This has an entirely different string factor altogether, so I have to kind of learn all over again. Yeah. But, you know, and Janice said, isn't that the fun part? I said, yeah, that is kind of the fun part. So Sunday I sat and watched every football game possible and played the ukulele all
Just sitting there.
afternoon.
Nice.
So, no, it was very cool and very nice. But it's good to be back to school. It's good to see the kids again and all that.
Yeah.
What's going on with you? What's happening?
I'm gearing up for the holidays, making some presents.
You know, that's something we should talk about. What is an, you know, people want to give an artful gift or, is a handmade gift these days still carry the weight it used to?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of focus now on kind of locally made objects or kind of more organic feel to it. So I think it's coming back.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I know that the open studios kind of geared around that, making sure they're around the time of year when you're kind of thinking about what to get somebody. And a piece of art is, or art as we call it in Rosendale, is a nice gift.
It is, and there's so many craft fairs around Boston to go and just support, you know, those artists who are making wonderful things.
A lot of your pieces you use as gifts.
I do. I use a lot of my pieces as gifts, or I'll make new pieces. I was going to make one for a relative this year, but I decided to make a pillow instead. I'm cross-stitching the front of it, and then I'll make a pillow for them.
No Place Like Home, Home Sweet Home or something?
Not
you
quite that, but
when you're making a piece for somebody, do you have that person in mind when you start, or do you kind of get in, because yours assemblage, it's just so much going on.
Yeah.
You know, do you get partway through a piece and go, hey, this reminds me of Uncle Charlie?
I might start with you know, a particular image that's really striking and that inspires me. And it might, I might say, oh, this reminds me of so and so, or so and so would love this, and then I kind of take off from there. But for the most part, I'm thinking of somebody at the start. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So your fiance, you're making something for him, you'll start with him in mind. You won't go to the wall and say, yeah, that one.
No. But I have these baskets full of just different things you can put in a collage. And so sometimes if I'm coming up with an idea or I'm thinking of somebody, I can kind of go in those baskets and root through them and say, okay, this would work and this would work.
Do you have a workspace, a dedicated kind of studio that you work in?
My dining room table.
Dining room table. That's exactly right. Well, I'm just wondering if you're constantly looking for stuff to use. I mean,
I am, and I have this closet where I have bins that I keep various things in. So I've come to be organized about it. At one time, I wasn't so organized.
How do you categorize it?
So I have kind of 3D hard objects, and then I have more kind of cartoony pieces, and then I have just kind of background pieces, textiles, you know, things that I can put in the background. And then I have kind of a box of all of my, like, what I use to make the collages, scissors, knives.
Oh, you need your tools.
Yeah, my tools. So, it keeps growing and growing.
Do you use decoupage? I mean, do you use Mod Podge?
I do,
You do?
I love it.
Yeah, because that's like the staple, you know. I know some people that get the big gallon of Elmer's and kind of make their own concoction, but I think that those Mod Podge people have it pretty down.
Yeah, it's really great. I used to use Elmer's and what was that? Rubber cement.
Yeah.
But it was really messy, and Mod Podge is so easy. I mean, you just kind of wipe it on top, and it both acts as glue and you know, a little coating
and a finish.
Yeah. And
the thing that's cool about it, I think, I watch Janice use it all the time, is it goes on white. So you're kind of working with this white, murky
when I first used it, I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And then it came out great. But
it dries this hard, glossy, clear.
Yeah.
It comes in different glosses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's this and then
Yeah.
there's a flatter sheen to the whole thing, right? So what kind of artful gifts do you like to get? Anybody at home that's listening?
Let's see. I love getting knitted things.
Things to wear?
Things to wear, like hat or scarf. And I like art for my friends, so.
I like things that mean something, that somebody's given me, that they say, this reminded me of such and such a time or whatever. And you know, our house is full of art, you know, so sometimes people are leery to give us anything artful, but boy, we find space for it, believe me.
I have a friend who just got out of woodworking school, and she makes amazing furniture. And I keep kind of hoping
Are you
that she'll
listening
make
out there?
me something. But yeah, that would be amazing.
We used to go to Crafts at the Castle over in Park Square.
Yeah.
At the castle there, and it was every year at this time of year they'd have a high-end crafters show. That's the other thing that gets me sometimes is when does that whole term arts and crafts, when does craft turn into art and fine art and all of that stuff? Some of the furniture people that we would see at these places are creating incredible pieces of fine art.
Yeah, I think furniture gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Because we're so, you know, IKEA or, you know, Crate and Barrel. But when there's a piece of furniture that's really well done and handmade and you can tell it's going to last forever, it's, I mean, museums have whole collections of furniture. So.
Yeah. And, well, yeah. Modern stuff, not as much maybe, or more antique-y type?
What, in museums?
Yeah.
I think it spans all kinds of, I mean, you know, there's, you know, Tiffany lamps.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
a big
yeah,
one.
yeah.
But I'm just thinking, you know, the Museum of Modern Art has a big collection of furniture, kind of in the 20th century, I think people started really experimenting.
Well, contemporary stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Like Bauhaus and all that kind of good stuff.
Really cool. What's going on film-wise with you? Anything new?
Yeah, film-wise, we're releasing a couple of new films.
Okay.
And they're good. They're more academic pieces.
What do you mean by academic pieces?
Based on a lot of research. A lot of academics and professors will probably use it for research.
Use it for research or use it for curriculum?
Both,
Okay.
and or have students watch it, you know, to write a paper or something. But we're releasing one which I'm really excited about. There are 4 short films by Robert Asher, who's he's a writer and filmmaker and anthropologist, and they're animated. They're these really cool animations, and what he does is he applied pen and ink straight to the 35mm film. So it's this really cool effect, and he has animated these different myths, and it's really cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I like
kind of
animation.
dark.
We've been doing a lot of stop motion stuff with a document camera and stuff with our kids, and
Cool.
they find it.
Yeah, that's the
fascinating.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids love that.
It's a little disheartening for them to work for an hour for 20
Get,
seconds.
like,
20
one
seconds.
little-
20 seconds of film, but.
Yeah, it probably makes them realize, you know, when they're watching a movie of all of that, it's like, oh.
Well, part of the thing we want them to get a hold of is to get an appreciation and a respect for the work that does go into all of this stuff. Years ago, we did a class on music videos.
Yep.
And we had the kids kind of pick a song, and then we had them say, okay, now why don't you try and develop, this is middle school kids, so it's not like, you know, try and develop a theme and how it's going to go and where you're going to go. And they were like, they said, well, they didn't believe it. They said, this is just so difficult. And, but they ended up having a better appreciation of the videos that they were watching.
Yeah.
And they could even explain them later as to like, well, I see what they had to do there because they're kind of experiencing it in the real life, doing, you know. There was another one you said?
Yeah, so there's another one, Gods and Kings. It's really interesting. It's about kind of these Mayan performances and rituals that they're using kind of contemporary mass culture icons and just, you know, Xena Warrior Princess and Chucky and just like totally random characters, mostly from, you know, Western culture. So they're using these characters in their rituals to kind of appeal to a younger generation because their rituals are kind of dying out, and so it's become this big thing.
The Mayan culture. So it's the Mayan culture in Central America?
In Guatemala.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy, and they spend the whole year preparing for these performances, and they make these incredible, huge. They're not even masks; they're like heads. It's almost like you know they're this huge bobblehead. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And where are they going to be released? Or are they just being released out to the public, for people who want to use them, they can get their hands on them?
Yep, they're being released on DVD, and we're submitting them to festivals, and if you want to have a screening of them.
Is there a place where people can go and kind of peruse what's available?
Yeah,
Your website handles all that?
www.der.org.
DER.
And all of the information is on there, and those titles will be on the front page because they're new releases. Yeah, and you click on it, and there'll be preview and a lot of information and where it's shown before. And
I remember asking you before how many releases you guys do. This is how many do you do a year?
About 25.
Okay.
But it varies each year.
And how often do you do a release? How long do you give these two a chance on the front page?
Yeah, so they'll be on there for, you know, at least 4 months or so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they'll stay. We spend about, it's 2 years to really promote a film because the festival circuit and to get it reviewed in journals, I mean, it might take up to 6 months to even, you know, you apply to a festival and you hear back 6 months later when the festival's happening. So it's a real kind of process, and so we keep them up there for a while.
Do you have a favorite kind that kind of a light bulb goes off when it comes your way? On the documentary side, is it what kind of sparks your interest?
I've always been really fascinated by different cultures and cultures other than my own, and kind of traveling through film. And so when I find a film that is, one, really well produced, like the quality is really great, and two, kind of explores something that you've never seen before or never heard about in a very observational way, you know, not trying to teach me anything, just this is what it is.
Just allowing you to experience it. Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I really like. Yeah.
And I guess where I'm going with this is how do you know when a film should be sent out to send to Cannes or to send to one of these film festivals that, you know, you're putting your reputation behind it, as well as the film, the documentary, the documentaire.
The filmmaker?
The filmmaker? The filmmaker's reputation behind it also. But they're kind of coming to you for that kind of help anyways. I mean, you're not getting, are you getting the big cats too sending you stuff, or is it mainly?
No, mostly because we're an educational distributor. So, you know, those big films will be going to, you know, I don't even know, the major picture houses.
Yeah. The Lowe's and all of those big cats.
For broadcast. Yeah. So they'll. I don't know if Lowe's distributes, but they definitely. Well, maybe they do because they have the theaters.
Yeah, they have.
But yeah, so we get films. They're arty and independent, and you know, either the filmmaker needs help distributing. or we have some specific audience that would be really great. We're tapped into all these different audiences.
Excellent.
So yeah, it's
Sounds exciting.
yeah,
I mean,
it's fun.
you're enjoying it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you get to travel.
sometimes. I do get to watch movies for work.
Is that part of you show up in the morning and kind of, did they say, Julia, you're in theater 4, or you're going to sit here and watch 5 movies today?
No, I'm part of my title is acquisitions manager, so I am looking at quite a few films. I tend to kind of, because I'm doing so many things, I tend to kind of, I have an ongoing list of films that I need to watch, and then I kind of spend an afternoon kind of just going through them.
Right. Does it take you long before you go, oh boy, this is, I don't like where this is going?
I can tell, within at least 20 minutes whether or not
Is it the quality of the
it's,
film?
Well, one, it's the quality, 2, it's the subject. And sometimes you have to give it a little time to kind of pick up. But usually 20 minutes I can tell if it's a right fit for us, because there are other distributors, and we might not necessarily be the right one for that film, but we often suggest you should submit it to here or there. If
Is there a
not for us.
formula? We have some filmmakers out there that watch the program. Is there a formula if you're going to be a documentarian? That's the word I was looking for.
You got it.
If you're going to do documentaries, is there a formula that you kind of got to get to the point and kind of, it's not a mystery and it's not a suspense. It's like, do you have to kind of get to the hammer quick?
I think so. It depends what type of film. I mean, if you're doing a very journalistic documentary, yeah, you want to get to the point. You want to say this is what the film is about. And then kind of go into, maybe the suspense or the, whatever about it. If you're doing more of an observational film, like I was talking about, you can kind of ease into it and kind of set the tone and the context and the setting. So.
Right,
it depends.
A story of what happened.
Yeah, you definitely kind of want some sort of storyline, though.
But you're not doing whodunits.
No.
Yeah, so Sherlock Holmes is safe.
Yeah.
Julia, thanks.
Yeah.
That was good. Thank you very much. We're gonna move along. We have great guests tonight. Big surprise tonight. We're very, very happy. Listen, gang, you're watching BNN-TV's It's All About Arts. My name is Glenn. This is Julia, and we're going to take a really quick break. We have a great guest coming up. You're really going to enjoy this. Please stay tuned, gang. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Please do not go away. Thank you. Well, welcome back, gang. Thanks an awful lot for hanging in there with us. A couple things I do want to bring up. We want to really thank the Boston Main Streets program. Boston Main Streets is our main benefactor here. They keep us on the air. They do a great job working in the communities and redeveloping neighborhood business districts, and they've been great friends of ours here. We want to thank them very much for all of their support. I also want to remind people that you can see this show. This show will be played repeatedly. There'll be 2 repeats this week on BNN. But if you miss any of those, you can get us on YouTube, and It's All About Arts, the number 1. That's how you'll get to see any of these repeats. In fact, this show will be up there tomorrow during the day at some point. And that beautiful piece of music that we were just listening to in the interlude is Matthias Lupri is here, and it's my great pleasure and honor welcoming you to the studio. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks a lot, Glenn, for having me.
You are, without having to introduce and tell people, you're an incredible vibe player. You've been playing professionally for a long, long time. That piece was beautiful. You had kind of snuck in a little bit and told me that you'd written that piece the day after 9/11. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate this a lot. But one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is your painting. How long have you been painting?
I just started. Just started a couple of years ago. Yeah. I've been a musician and artist / kind of thing most of my life. I mean, I did take a painting class in high school once.
Okay, well, that's good.
And that was kind of fun. But I never really did much painting. I did a lot of doodling, cartoonish kind of stuff as a kid, but I never got into it further beyond. I wanted to be a cartoonist as a child, actually, at one point. But then I drifted off into other things, into music and airplanes and stuff like that, and never came back to it. But I started working on some music recently, about 6 years ago, and through the music, it brought up inner images to me, and I kind of got to the point where I thought, oh, I should really be painting and thinking about some of these inner images, and I got into painting.
And it's Matthias.
Matthias. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Why so late with the painting? Was that high school class not getting it done for you, or was the music?
I think the music
was so involving.
Yeah, I think the music really dominated at that time, and drew me in so much. And now I've sort of I've started seeing the differences and similarities between all the arts, you know.
Right.
And as Julia was mentioning earlier too, you know, like, you know, doing the different arts that she does, and you too, like, you just see how things overlap and how they work together.
I'd love to ask artists when they're painting, do you set the atmosphere for yourself?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Is there some favorite jazz pieces in the background going on, or are you listening to Talking Heads while you're painting?
No, actually, I've been actually keeping it quite quiet.
Really?
Yeah, I've been no music at all.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mainly because the stuff that I'm painting is derived from my own music, so I just sort of have it inside me. I kind of hear what I'm working on in a sense. Yeah. And I did try it for a bit, and sometimes I did try it a bit where I put on the music that I'm working on as I'm painting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do right now.
Some rough cuts or?
Yeah, rough cuts. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. So what I have a studio in the basement, but I paint upstairs, and I wrote a lot of it. This new CD, which is not done yet, but I got sidetracked and totally into painting now. You know? And so I'm trying to combine the painting with that, you know. Right. And I also started writing too, you know. So.
Oh, you're writing?
Yeah. So just trying to, you know, just all this mixture of things, you know.
Do you have the time to do all that?
Yeah, you take the long road, you know. Yeah. I'm not on a. I used to be living this life of.
Well, you're touring and you go all over the place.
You tour and like, well, you put out an album. First you got to write the album, then you got to record the album, rehearse the album, and then you tour the album, and then you start all over. And that usually works over like a 1.5 year cycle. Yeah. But that started going after I did 5 albums that way. Yeah. And just trying to see that progression, and you know, it was fun. It's fun, but at the same time, it's kind of grueling. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Has it always been you out front? Have you done some session work?
No, I did some session work too, but I was a drummer for many years.
People don't realize that the piano and the vibes are percussion instruments.
Right. Yeah. So in the '80s, when I had long hair in the '80s, I don't have long hair anymore. Well, back then when I had long hair, I was a hard rock drummer. You know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who were you with?
Just small local band.
Some garage stuff?
Yeah. No, well, we toured, but never made it really big.
Yeah.
But on the road a lot. 5 years on the road.
Are you originally from this area?
No, I'm actually. I grew up in Canada. In the Prairie Foothill Mountains of the Rocky Mountains.
Yikes.
So.
That's isolated.
Yeah, it was a very nice area.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice, and it was very inspiring. I grew up in an interesting house. You know, I was thinking about what we're talking about in the different arts, and I was thinking about the Bauhaus connection with the architecture and graphic design and media and art and psychology and philosophy and mixing all this stuff together.
Right.
And you know, I grew up sort of in this very beautiful wooded, you know.
Well,
woods,
the atmosphere alone is
and
just...
the open sky, the big blue yonder, you know.
And at night, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just up North Country, so I still have some of it on me, so which is always fun. Are you able to work on several pieces at a time?
Yes. At first, I had a bit of an issue with that, you know, but I'm getting better at it now. So I have 2 or 3 at the time, working at the same time. And I've been taking classes at Mass Art also.
Oh, great place.
Yeah, I love it. Taking a great class there, and it's been really helping a lot. So I have some artwork there that I work on, and then I have some artwork at home I'm working on, and so I'm running out of spaces to put the artwork now that I paint. I'm doing large, kind of like, you know, some 72 inches by 48 inches or something like that.
So you get some larger
ones, you know. So you know, you only have so much wall space. Right. So now I'm starting to get out there more, and I'm hooked up with Canvas Fine Arts.
Yes, Suzanne Schultz, a very good bunch.
Great, canvasfinearts.com, and just get some of my art out there.
Yep.
I'm hooked up with in Hyde Park with the Hyde Park Association.
At the Menino Center.
The Menino Center?
Yes, I know them very well.
Yep.
Nice group.
Great group there.
Yeah.
And so I have some art hanging there, and I did the Hyde Park Open Studios, and
that's great.
There's some work there right now. And
that's super.
Yeah. And also Pat Tierney, real estate company. I have 10 or 12 paintings there.
That's great.
Yeah, she's the mother of Maura Tierney.
I know.
From ER, you know.
I know exactly who she is. That's great.
Yes.
If you were going to be putting an electric press kit together for your art, and there's that infamous pull-down menu, and you had to kind of categorize yourself as this kind of an artist. That's a horrible question.
Yeah.
I know it is, but where would you categorize yourself?
Within the paintings?
Yeah, with the paintings. Yeah.
I guess it falls somewhere within the abstract areas, you know.
Yeah. Is it acrylic or oil?
I've just been doing oil.
Just oil?
Oil and canvas is all I've
See,
done.
now that to me is such a difficult medium because it's got to dry, you've got to move it around, and it's a slow process sometimes.
Yeah, I mean it's slow, but I mean what's the rush, you know?
Amen. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we have some pieces to look at, and I think that we'll put them up on the screen here, and for you at home to enjoy too. Talk us through what we're looking at here.
Well, this is like I was saying, I was mixing my art with my music, and I've been reading psychology and stuff like that too. So I wrote a song called Moon Lamps a long time ago it's a blues song, which I don't know if you have time later to play it, but it's, you know, with blues, you have the call and response going on.
Yep.
And been reading a lot of psychology and stuff and thinking about that and how that relates to my imagery and painting. And so with reading psychology and stuff, I was really realizing, you know, like each of us has a male part and a feminine part. And I was showing the call and response between the feminine part of myself maybe and the moon and this call and response. Like a man has an anima figure, you know, and the female have animus. And
how big is this piece in life?
This is 40 by 30, I think. You know.
That's great.
So
beautiful.
Thank you. It's called A Moon Lamp Wish Song for Camellia B. So I have a song called Moon Lamp. I have Moon Lamps. I have a song called Wish Song. So I'm just combining some of the music with the painting.
Beautiful. Okay.
Same figure again. Camellia with the moon at Widow's Peak, it's called. And it's quite a tall one. I think that's 72 high.
Wow.
You know, it's quite high. And these are all kind of new.
It's a lot of paint.
Yeah.
This I saw this one when they were putting them up. I love this one. I mean, I see a guitar in there. I see all kinds of things in there. What draws you to it? You know?
Yeah. This is the darkly. I think I called, or wounded current darkly. I think it's called. I can't see it clearly here, but and this is more of an abstract, totally abstract with. You don't know what you're painting beforehand. So
yes.
You know, it's the other figure. When you have the figures in front of you, you sort of can have an idea, and you sort of know you're going to.
You have a plan,
sort of a plan. But with this, it's totally abstract.
Yeah.
And it just goes where it goes as you paint. You know?
It's beautiful.
You
know? I love that one. Where is this?
This is actually at a Mass Art.
This is at Mass Art Gallery.
Okay. There, and I was hanging it there, and so I have a collection of these abstract arts, which I call my Metallic series. I have a record called Metallics actually also, and what I call Metallics is sort of that vision at night, or when you close your eyes, sort of when you start going to that starry cosmo area.
Yeah.
You know, before you go into dreamland.
Yeah.
Before it's somewhere that threshold between being awake
and consciousness
and unconsciousness. You start going to, and so I started having this series and a record that was all based upon that. So when I started thinking about the art,
this would be a good question for this. Were you playing that music when you did these?
I did.
Yeah.
For some of this, yes, I did. Yeah. And so that helped do that. And this is all. None of this is brushwork. It's all palette
knives. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's great stuff. I love it.
So you don't know what's going to happen until it happens.
Is it still up at Mass Art?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
But you can see this is at Pat Tierney's on Hyde Park. What's the address there? It's that's where it's hanging right now. 26 Central Ave, Hyde Park.
Yep.
You can see him there.
Excellent. Okay.
This is actually done with a brush, and this was called Futures Past, Just Like a Dream. And I was trying to get at the cosmic relationship between future, present, and past, you know, and memories, dreams, reflections. And when I grew up in Canada, in Alberta, I was very drawn, as you were saying, to the open sky when you were up north, and I saw a lot of northern lights, and there was this, the dancing northern lights would look sort of like this, you know, with the whitish dancing ghost figure within a cosmic atmosphere, you know.
It's beautiful.
And I went back to Canada a number of years ago, and I went up in a sailplane.
Oh, really?
And over the Rocky Mountains for an hour, and we caught some of the most amazing winds. The guy was saying it was the currents going across the.
I love the red in there. That blam.
Right. Yeah. That's just sort of a primal.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you. So I'm just trying to capture that, you know.
And that's all about you.
Yeah, you don't need to read that.
Yeah, we'll drag that out of you live, right here. It's beautiful work. Are you hanging
so
anywhere now besides Pat's or?
Yeah, at Pat's in the Menino Art Center, and things coming up.
Yeah, what's coming up?
What's coming up? Well, we're going to do a closing reception at Pat's.
When is that, so we can get people over there?
End of December sometime.
Okay.
So if you check Canvas Fine Arts or my website, which is Matthias Lupri 2.wix.com.
Yeah, if you go to It's All About Arts, we have a website for you to click right on to. So go right to that.
Perfect. Yeah. So that'll be coming up, and then on January 3rd, there's going to be a Canvas Arts group show, which is down on Harrison Avenue.
That's great, in the South End.
In the South End.
Yeah.
That's January 3rd, and January 21st at the Liberty Hotel, Boston.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's
a very serious show. That's
a good
great.
show, and that'll just be a solo show for me, so that's great.
Wow,
you know?
that's very,
so
very good.
I'm going to drag out a lot of paintings there, and
great.
maybe play have some music going. I don't know, you know.
You gonna play?
I don't know. Probably not, but it'd probably be a bit crazy to try to combine it all. But you know. Maybe I'll have some CD music going on.
Well, that's good enough.
Yeah. And then after that, we're doing a thing at Neiman Marcus, which is kind of interesting.
We'll have to have you back for one of those openings.
Yeah.
You know, to do some more talking. Matthias, let's talk a little. Can we talk a little bit about music?
Sure. Yeah.
How's it going these days? What are you up to? Do you have a trio you're in love with these days?
I mean, I haven't been playing as much lately, but I did actually just play with some guys I used to play with all the time. At the at the ICA.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So that was kind of fun. I was going to drag one of my paintings down there, put it behind me. It was raining out, so I didn't bring it, but I was going to put it behind me, and then they were like, hey, where'd you get that painting from? And it was on the wall over there.
Let's see, check the inventory
the
quick.
security guard brings it and puts it back up. I'm like,
No problem.
No problem. I got my art up at the ICA, you know?
Do you ever use any of your artwork for any of your album covers?
Not yet, but that would be coming up, you know.
That would be a cool idea.
Yeah.
You know, because I especially pieces that have been influenced by your music. You know, things that I have a bunch of friends that use artwork as album covers. They're album covers.
Sure.
Whatever they're called nowadays. Let's take BNN folks through. You've got your blank canvas in front of you, and you're planning to move on to another piece here. Are you looking at past pieces? Are you using photography because of an image you saw somewhere, or are you just starting in the middle or a corner and taking it as an adventure? Not the ones that have your figure in them, but I mean more of the abstract ones I'm talking about. Do you have an idea where you're going before you get there?
Not really. The really abstract ones are basically, I'm going for that. You're going for a feeling that's inside of you.
Well, that's what abstract paintings do. They draw a feeling.
They draw that feeling. So you're not looking at anything or really thinking about too much, but you're just putting paint on the canvas. And how do you know, what's your way that you prefer to put it on, and then how does that make you feel? How do you react to that feeling? And you go with that. You know?
Are you putting a base coat down, and then you're throwing some more paint up there, letting it dry, taking the palette knife to it, you blending as you go through?
I usually don't do a base coat, but I have been messing around with that. I just started some base coats. I did it. The one
because you're going to cut down to that eventually.
You eventually cut down to it, right? You know, so but you know, I mean, it all has primer on it, so you know, which has been white primer. But the question is, you want to go? I have one that I just started with, kind of a gray primer, just to see what that looks like. You know, because it's going to affect how you approach it with the colors into your system. You know, but I did try one with gesso, which is a very heavy primer. And it's more moldable type of thing. So. That one, Wounded Current Darkly, that you like so much, that actually had a lot of gesso on it first, so which was all white gesso, which is sort of so it has a very thick texture to it. So I just got my feeling like, how do I want the base to feel? And it just give it a bit more 3D effect, right off the top.
The age-old question for abstract artists is, how do you know when you're done?
Again, it's that feeling thing, I think. You know, it's sort of like, it just sort of feels done. I tell my students, it's when you step back and look at it and say, I like that. Don't touch it anymore. Because as an artist too, my biggest mistake is I get something, I get to where, you know, I like it, then I always gotta do something. So you're painting also? You're playing, you're playing guitar? Okay, too.
I'm an abstract painter too.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, great.
And I'm using all kinds of ways. I use a lot of acrylics. In my last piece, I actually used a plastic fork.
Oh, great. Okay.
And just twirled out all these colors and walked away. You know, I work pretty fast, so I'll be done in no time. Where you probably spend a lot of time on it. How long do you spend on a piece?
Well, some work in 2 sittings, which can be 4 hours here and another 4 hours there.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, that'd be the quickest I've done, and then the other one's a month. You know, so and sometimes I like to let the paint dry a bit and let it not totally dry. So if you let something dry for 3 or 4 days. It has a different texture, so when you attack it, it looks different. And when you smear, and then you can smear it. When you smear it, it smears differently. And the way it trails differently. So it's interesting. And then if you put fresher paint on top, which is smearing like fresh paint,
Yeah.
you get a different vibe of tension. It's tension release, like a lot of tension release going on there.
It's a voyage, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is so much fun. I'm glad you're over at Mass Art. The people over there are phenomenal.
Did you go to school there too?
No, but I know every guy. I know a lot of people there. But I'll tell you, you're lucky to be there. I'm actually going to be taking some paint management stuff over there.
Great.
And some little professional development.
Sure.
It's been a long time since I've been in a classroom. So
no, it's fun. Yeah. And Julia that was here. She was talking about furniture and stuff. And you were talking about furniture. And I was thinking about taking a woodworking furniture course. You know that.
It'd be great.
You know, just to see how that combines with the arts and stuff too.
Matthias, Lupri, thank you so much for coming in.
I appreciate it.
Listen, the door is open anytime. And you're a local cat now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
let's not be strangers, and let's have you come back anytime. I mean, if you're whatever you're promoting, your new
Great.
CD or a show coming up or anything, or please feel free to come in and visit us. Please just have Suzanne give us a call, or you call and say, hey, I would love to come in and talk about that. Please do.
That'd be great. Thanks, Glenn.
No, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you here. Listen, gang, we're going to take a really quick break and get Julia back up here, and we'll say goodnight. Listen, gang, don't go anywhere. Like I like to remind you, you can see this show again at YouTube at It's All About Arts and the #1. All of our past shows are there, so why don't you can take a look at us there. We'll be back in just one quick minute. Please do not go away. Well, welcome back, gang. Thanks an awful lot for hanging in there. Glenn Williams here from BNN-TV's It's All About Arts. And to my right and to your left, of course, is Julia Perciasepe. Hello.
Hello.
That was great.
Yeah.
He is. It was funny when he first came. When he first got here, you said, "Your name is just like the famous jazz musician."
I know.
And he went, "Oh, I play a little bit." But that was cute. That was funny.
Yeah.
His work is beautiful.
And a lot of talent, diverse talent.
Yeah, he's writing too. I mean, he's so I find that in a lot of people that get to a level in music or painting and something, they branch out and it's just something in that gene that you can kind of do it in many different mediums.
The left side of the brain.
It's very big and strong, and lots of things going on over there. But check out the website. Go to his website. It's amazing. There's a lot of things on there, and it's we'll make sure that when he's doing the Neiman Marcus show, that's a place to go see his stuff, because then it's kind of built into the fabric of the place, and big pieces really show really well there.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up? Anything interesting?
Nothing besides the screening that I've been
I know,
advertising every time.
You've been barking about. What do you do for Christmas?
I'm going to Brazil.
There she goes. Oh, I said, oh, you get to travel around. Oh, not me. I don't get to do anything. That's really great.
Yeah, my fiance's family's from there, and we're going to be going to this small town in the north where apparently nobody speaks English, so I'm practicing my
fully
Portuguese.
dependent.
And it's supposed to be excruciatingly hot.
Yes,
and,
close to the sun down there.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Have you met his family before?
Not this part of the family. I've met a lot of his family, but...
So this will be exciting for you.
Yeah, it'll be nice, and Christmas is a big thing there, so yeah.
Yeah, we have an open house Christmas Eve. We do all kinds of different things around our, our group, especially since we weren't around for Thanksgiving. I think we have to make our presents available for Christmas with the grandkids and all that cool stuff. So what do you want to do next week?
I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure something out for next week. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Listen, gang, thanks an awful lot for tuning in tonight. Like we said, we'll be up on YouTube anytime tomorrow afternoon. Go there anyways, because there's lots of past shows to see, and there's lots of cool artists to meet on that It's All About Arts 1. Listen, gang, get out there and do something artful for yourself, please. Go over to Blick and pick up a watercolor set. Maybe do some work. It'll be great. It is an awful lot of fun. And like we like to say every week, please keep in the forefront of your minds our mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews on foreign soil. My godson is home from Afghanistan. He just got back, and we're very, very blessed to have him home with us. Do something artful, do it for them. Okay, gang? We'll see you next week. Thanks an awful lot for being here. Bye-bye now.
Bye.